Entering Talking Rock's cavern is like entering a fairyland. In fact, the cave's original name, Fairy Cave, came about when cave expert Truman Powell entered the cave in the late 1800s and said it looked like a fairyland. The tour begins at the entrance of the cavern, where a tour guide describes the story of how a few locals found the cave.
The cave was discovered back in 1883. We had a couple local gentlemen out doing some rabbit hunting, saw a rabbit run into a small hole, and these guys evidently were very bored or very hungry because they went after the rabbit. And they removed a big rock out of their way, and when they did that, they found themselves looking down into a deep, dark, mysterious hole in the ground.
The Irwin family homesteaded the property in the 1880s and contacted local cave expert Truman Powell to explore the cave. Powell and his men used candlelight, ropes, and pulleys. In 1921, Truman's son, Waldo Powell, purchased the cave from the Irwins and opened it for tours.
Waldo's daughters, Hazel and Pansy Powell, were the first guides to take people through the cave. Kerosene lanterns were their light sources on those early tours.
Waldo Powell spent a lot of time in the cave studying the rocks, and said the longer he observed, the more the cave spoke to him about how it was formed. That is how the cave's current name, Talking Rocks, came about when Silver Dollar City purchased the cave in 1969.
You're standing in the most common type of cave that you'll find on our planet, and these formed as water finds its way through cracks and fractures in the bedrock and begin to dissolve the rock. Limestone is the main cave-bearing rock throughout the world. It's very abundant, and of course it's pretty soluble, at least in comparison to other rocks. And if you study the rock closely, you're going to see that it is comprised of marine fossils. And so what we're dealing with is ancient sea sediment. We do have all the common types of mineral deposits you'd find in the limestone cave. We've talked about draperies, but of course we have stalactites and stalagmites, flow stones, lots of flow stone, areas that are fairly smooth, cave popcorn or cave coral, the bumpy deposits that you see in different places.
The cave also has breathtaking columns, fragile soda straws, and a few helictites. Many of the formations, such as Powell's Column, have interesting stories behind them.
This is the largest column in the cave. We have named this one Powell's Monument in honor of the Powell family, first explorers, commercial operators of the cave. Truman, on his way into the cave, could see this column pretty nicely in his candlelight. So he gets about eye level with it here, and he hollers up at the guys that are lowering him down. He tells them to stop. He wants to hang out in midair and just admire what he's seeing. Now, Truman had a very active imagination. He loved to give names to a lot of shapes and forms. He suddenly declares that he has seen an angel. Notice what appears to be a robe coming down here, wings going off to the left and to the right.
Visit Talking Rock's Cavern and discover an underground fantasy world filled with tales of the past. They are open all year long except for Thanksgiving and Christmas.